Alright, my dear learners, I welcome you to our learning hub, Go Choice Course. Together we can, divided we fall, in God we trust. So I am your teacher Hakim, and we are going to go look at our lesson 20. I congratulate you upon moving with us from since lesson 1 up to lesson 20. So I also thank the parents that have taken the initiative to pay all the charges as far as online lessons. So let us get started. So as usual, we start with our word bank. So here we have 8 words which are waiting for us to read them, spell them, and get simple meanings. Let us get started. Alright, word number 1, here we have fertilization. This is diphtheria, brood, bore, endosperm, oviduct, hemoglobin. Great. We are going to start with great. So this is great. The word is great. So from primary 5 we looked at poultry, and we say that these birds, these hens, have a special part called the gizzard, enkoko nkulu. So this gizzard has small stones, and those small stones are called the grits. So if we don't call them grits, we also call them the pallables. And these pallables or the grits, they are there to crush food into small particles, simply because these birds, they don't have teeth. Now let us look at our next word here. So this next word, it is he. Now this is more so the word becomes hemoglobin. The word is hemoglobin. Now the way we write this word hemoglobin is the same way we write the word feces. So however, some people mistake this one and start with e like this. This is wrong. And even when it comes to writing the word hemoglobin, also they start with ea. This is also wrong. So this hemoglobin, it is the red pigment. This is the pigment that gives blood its color. And what is its color? The color is red. Now this hemoglobin is found in a red blood corpuscle, or the red blood cell, which is called RBC. Remember we said blood has its components. There are 4 of them. We have the white blood corpuscles, the red blood corpuscles, the platelets, and blood plasma. Alright, so now these red blood cells, for them, they have a disc shape, and inside them they are having what we call a hemoglobin. It is this hemoglobin within these red blood cells that carry oxygen. So it is the real site for carrying of oxygen, right? So, and this hemoglobin is the one which gives our blood the red color. Now we are now here. This word is read as bar. It is read as bar. So what is this bar? It is an animal. Which animal this could be? This is a pig. And which sex of a pig? It is a male pig. So a male mature pig is called a boar. So embizi ensajja, it is called a boar. Then a female one, it is called a sow. Kati ate piglets, female piglets are called goats. So yeah, they are called goats. Now we go to another word here. It is the oviduct. This one is the oviduct. So it is O-V, then da, we have the word becomes oviduct, right? So this one is the oviduct. So from the previous lessons we discussed the oviduct, and we say that an oviduct, it is also called the fallopian tube, and this is where the process of fertilization takes place. So oviduct is the place where fertilization takes place, as we discussed in the previous lesson. How we have our other word here, it is the endosperm. So this M must come here. So endosperm, it is the part of a maize grain. Remember we say this grain, it's called a seed because a fruit, because it has 2 scars. We have this scar here, which is the style scar, and also this one, which is the style scar, the stalk scar. Now we get this compartment. This compartment, it is called a cotyledon. Then this remaining one, it is called the endosperm. So the importance of this endosperm, it is to store or to keep food for the embryo. So the embryo, we mean the plumule and the radicle. So we have our other word here, which is called brood, and this brood is normally used by apiculturists. You know, apiculturists are these people who keep or rear bees. So this one, it is called a brood chamber. So a brood chamber, this is where we normally find a queen bee with its eggs and the grubs. Remember the grub grubs, it means the youngs of these bees. If we take a simple look at the box beehive, then it has these openings, and these openings they are showing us the entrance. Now inside there we are having a separator. Now this separator is what we call a queen excluder. Now this queen excluder separates the the box hive into two, or a hive into two chambers. Now this chamber which is next to the entrance, it is the honey chamber, because here we see our work bees enter and make honey. Now this next one, it is the brood chamber, not the queen chamber. It's called the brood chamber. So what do we find in this brood chamber? We find there the queen bee, we also find there the grubs and the eggs there. Now this queen excluder prevents the queen bee from crossing to the honey chamber to start feeding on honey and also laying eggs within the honey. Now we have this word here. This word is diphtheria. The word is diphtheria. Now whereby this is diff, then rare, whereby some people make this one make a mistake when it comes writing this one. They write diphtheria. This is wrong. It is not diphtheria. The word is diphtheria. It is an immunizable disease which can attack the infants at an age of 2 to 6 years. And this one is prevented by using a triple vaccine, and that triple vaccine is the DPT vaccine, preventing diphtheria, pertussis, which is also called tuberculosis, whooping cough, and also the tetanus. Lastly, we are having the word fertilization, whereby some people call this one fertilization. It is not fertile, it is fertilization. So this is the union of a male and a female gamete to form a zygote, as we discussed in the previous lesson. So my dear learner, today's words are fertilization, diphtheria, brood, oviduct, bore, endosperm, and we have the hemoglobin plus the grades. Please write these words in your exercise book in a very good handwriting. Okay, so from here we are now going to look at the diagram for today. Wow, so today we are going to look at the digestive system of a fowl. We are looking at the digestive system of a fowl. Remember, fowl means a bird, a domestic a domestic bird, like the ducks, like turkeys, like hens, cocks, and so on, so long as they are kept at home, the poultry. Now in the previous lessons, we looked at digestive system, digestion, and we said that digestion is the process by which food is broken down into simple soluble particles that can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Now, when we look at this one has its digestive system. Now, let us first draw, let us take this digestive system here. Now, I've drawn my bird here. This is its eye, and this eye is protected by a membrane. Do you remember that membrane? That membrane is called nictitating membrane. Now, what is this part here? It is its beak, not mouth, it is the beak. Now, from the beak we are going to get a tube like this. Then below here we are having this part which you call the wattle. Then at the top here we have this part here, and this part is called a comb. Alright, so this part here you are seeing, what is it? This one is called the esophagus. It is called the esophagus. Now, it's not called the gullet. The gullet, it means that the opening of the esophagus. If you look at this tube, this one is the esophagus, then this one is called the gullet, right? Now from there, this esophagus is going to make a simple part here, and this part is called the crop, ekisakiro. So the crop stores food for a short period of time. When the food is in the crop, the food is moistened, and also the food is softened. Now from this crop we are going to lead to a small part here, and this small part is long, and it's called the proventriculus. Let me rub this on and you see the spelling clearly. So it is called proventriculus. Yeah, proventriculus. Now this proventriculus, it is also sometimes we call it the stomach, though we don't mark this one. but it is called preventriculus. Now from preventriculus we are now going to get another part here, and now this part here, it is what we are calling the gizzard. Enkoko enchi, enkoko nkulu. So it is the gizzard. Now from the gizzard we are going now to get what we call the small intestine. The small intestines. Remember, we said that these small intestines are made up of three parts. We have the jejunum, we have the duodenum, and also have the ileum. So we start with the duodenum, then we go to the jejunum, then the ileum. So here we are going to call this one the ileum, where we have absorption of water. Now from this one, from this part here, we are going to join on and get a big one, which we call the colon. Now this colon, it is going to have two sections. Here we have this one, then it continues, then it gets another section here, then it ends up with this. Now this one here, it is what we call the colon, and now this opening, it is what we call the cloaca, and now these two here are what we call the caich. We call them the caich. Now we need to know how important are these parts here. Now this caich, before knowing the functions, let us compare what we have drawn with what is here. Let us change the color. We get a color which can suit here. Now this part here, it is what we call the esophagus, right? This one is the esophagus. Now this part here, it is our crop, and we've said in the crop food is moistened and food is softened. Now from there, this part here, can you guess this is? This part is same as this one, and this one's called preventriculus. Now this preventriculus, it is a part of this digestive system that produces hydrochloric acid. In short, we can write it as HCl, and also an enzyme called pepsin. This pepsin helps to act upon or to digest the proteins that this bird has eaten, and this hydrochloric acid to kill the germs that have escaped or that have entered with the food from the beak to the crop, then here. So that is called the preventriculus. Now from the preventriculus, we are having this part here, but this part is not here. Then this part here, it is automatically the liver. Then inside the liver, we normally get that green thing, which is called the gall bladder, storing what we call the bile juice, that green juice there. Now we have this one. This part here is called the gizzard, and inside the gizzard we have small stones, and these small stones are also called polypus, and these polypus are there to crush food into smaller particles, because these birds, they don't have teeth. Now here is what we call the ileum, or what we call the small intestines, and here is where we have water absorption. Now this part here you are seeing, it's what we call the colon, and within the colon, that's where we have this is not water absorption, it is food absorption. Food absorption, and within the colon, it's where we have water absorption. Now this opening you are seeing here is what we call the cloaca. It is pronounced as cloaca. It is the cloaca. Now these two projections, I think these two projections are this and this. So these two projections are what we call the caich. Now if you remember our digestive system, the human digestive system, there is a part which is called the appendix. You know what the appendix does? The appendix stores undigested materials. Even even this caich does the caich does that same function like our appendix. It is there to store undigested foreign bodies like wood, sticks, the bad ate, then stones that have escaped from the gizzard, and so on. Then after waiting, that's why it is connecting to this part here, then after that it will be just taken out. Now this cloaca, scientifically this word cloaca, it means an opening that is shared by three body systems. One, excretory system, because you can ask, do they urinate? They don't urinate, but they excrete their waste material called uric acid. It is a solid. and also to what we call reproductive system. Now where is it's what? No, the reproductive system. So again, it will open to what we call the digestive system. So if the droppings are going to pass, they pass through the same opening. If the excretory organ uric acid is going to passes through here. If now the sperms are being deposited or the eggs are coming out, they pass through the same opening. So that opening which is being shared by the three excretory organs, systems, it is called the cloaca. So it is the passage of the waste materials, reproduction, and also undigested food. So this is the cloaca, this is the cloaca, large intestine. Now between these small intestines, that's where we have what we call the pancreas. So this is the diagram we have looked at today. Let me hope that you've understood and you've enjoyed this part. So as you slaughter those hens, try to observe and see the pancreas and see these other various parts of a bird digestive system of a fowl. Okay, let us go to our human body. Alright, in this lesson we are now going to look at the embryo in the uterus. The embryo in the uterus. Remember, when we discussed fertilization, we said we have the events that take place. The first event is going to be the ovulation, whereby we said ovulation is the process by which the ovary releases a mature ovum. Then after ovulation, what is going to take place? That is copulation. Copulation, it is also called mating. So what is mating? This is the union of the male and the female pattern. This is having sexual intercourse. Then from mating, we are going to go for fertilization. Then after fertilization, a zygote is going to implant itself onto the uterus walls. That is implantation. Thus that is going to be conception. Then from conception, it's going to end into what we call a birth. Then we shall discuss even what birth means, or parturition, or parturition. Now so here we are now going to see the embryo after all these ones. Now the embryo has been formed, then let us see the embryo in the uterus. So we are going to start by drawing. Now if you remember the reproductive system, we said there is this part which is called the fundus. This upper part is called the fundus. Now these are the fallopian tubes. Then what I'm drawing the uterus. Now this uterus, it is having the cervix here. Then the cervix is going to end up with the vagina here. Now here it is the uterus wall. This one is the uterus wall. Now this uterus wall, it has the inner lining, and this inner lining is what we call the endometrium, if you remember very well. So this is the inner lining, which is called the endometrium. So this one is the cervix, this is the endometrium. So from where we started from, I think when I say endometrium, you don't get confused. This means the inner lining of the uterus, and we said this inner lining is made thick to support pregnancy by a hormone called progesterone. Progesterone, which is secreted by the Graafian follicle, which was carrying the ovum, which it released during the process called ovulation by the help of LH, which is called luteinizing hormone. I think you remember this. Okay, now from there, during pregnancy, we are now going to see the embryo implanting itself. Now this embryo is embedded in a sac. So this sac here, it is called the amnion. So this one is called the amnion. So amnion, it is the sac. This is the sac that protects the fetus, and it is this sac that holds the fluid, and that fluid is called the amniotic fluid, right? As in, you see, this amniotic fluid, it is similar to the albumin of that egg. Even now here we have the amniotic fluid, but we don't call it the albumin, the egg white. Now there we are having the finger-like structures, and now these finger-like structures are called the villi, and these villi are called chorionic villi. Then the villi, they are going to form a part here, and this part formed here is what we call the placenta. Now the placenta is going to form a tube, and this tube here is what we call the umbilical cord. This one is called the umbilical cord. Now here we are going to have our fetus here. Now this one is the fetus. It's not called a baby, it is called the fetus. Then inside the fetus here, inside the bag here, we are having the fluid, and now this fluid is what we have called the amnion. It is what we have called the amniotic, sorry, not amnion, but the amniotic fluid. And this fluid, it equalizes pressure within this one, and it also acts as a shock absorber to the fetus. Right now, this is we are naming this one. So this is the fundus, now the uterus wall, the endometrium, the amnion, then amniotic fluid, the fetus, the umbilical cord, then the placenta, and the chorionic villi. Then down here we have the cervix and the vagina. Okay, let us look at functions of each part here, because each part has a use. Now we are going to start with the umbilical cord. We are going to discuss the umbilical the umbilical cord. Let us reduce the thickness of our chalk, of our pen here. So the umbilical cord here, this umbilical cord, if we try to draw our fetus, this is the head, now this is the fetus, there is this pipe here, then it comes like this one, these are the legs. Now this one, it is joining to this thing which has finger-like structures. Now this part here is what we've called the placenta, and now this one is the umbilical, not ambuli, it is umbilical cord, RD, and now this one is our fetus, right? And this one's our fetus. Now when you look at this umbilical cord, inside it has two blood vessels. There is this blood vessel, and this one is called the umbilical vein, and now this one is called the umbilical artery. Now this umbilical vein, it is supplying the fetus with oxygenated blood, whereas this umbilical artery, it is carrying away the oxygenated blood from the fetus. Therefore the umbilical vein is similar to the pulmonary vein. Both carry oxygenated blood regardless of being veins, because we know that veins carry the oxygenated blood, apart from now these two, the umbilical vein and the pulmonary vein. Then again we have the umbilical artery. So this umbilical artery, it is similar to the pulmonary artery. All of them, they carry the oxygenated blood regardless of being arteries, and we know that all arteries carry oxygenated oxygenated blood, right? Are we there? Okay, now let us continue. Let us continue. So this umbilical cord one, it joins, or it holds the fetus. It holds the fetus onto the uterus walls. It holds the fetus onto the uterus walls, and it transports nourishments to the fetus. It transports nourishments to the fetus. So that is the umbilical cord. Now let us go to what we call the placenta. Now this placenta has very many functions. It is very important to it is so important, it is very important to the developing to the developing fetus. One, it is going to act as a supplier for nourishments. It supplies nourishments to the fetus. So it supplies nourishments, or it nourishes, or it carries nourishments to the embryo. So it carries nourishments, it supplies nourishments to the embryo. What is the embryo? It is that fetus. Number two, this placenta, it also carries out exchange of respiratory gases. It carries out the exchange of respiratory gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide. This means that now when you look at here we have the mother's blood. So the mother's blood is bringing oxygen, then the fetus is releasing what we call carbon dioxide. Now this exchange occurs at the placenta. Now also this placenta secretes hormones. The placenta secretes what we call hormones, and the hormones secreted by the placenta, one, we have what we call the HCG, the human chorionic gonadotropin, which is used to test whether someone is pregnant, and this one comes from the chorionic villi here. Then apart from that one, it can also produce the estrogen, and also it can produce what we call the progesterone, which is needed to maintain the thick walls of the uterus. Now apart from that one, this one, it acts as a barrier, preventing certain materials from oozing and enter the fetus. But there are some materials that can pass through the placenta, and those ones we call them the placenta substances. So for them, they can pass through the placenta, especially drugs like alcohol, nicotine, we have cocaine, there is heroin, we have marijuana. So all these ones, that's why a pregnant woman is not advised to smoke, neither to drink alcohol, because for them they are transplacenta, they can pass through and they cause premature births, they can cause a stillbirth whereby this fetus can die, or underweight births. You produce a baby the baby which weighs just 1 kilogram or a quarter kilogram. Now so we have also what we call it provides what we call passive immunity. It provides passive immunity. I think from primary 5 they have been telling you ways how we can get natural immunity from the mother to the fetus through the placenta. Now when we looked at blood groups, there is what we called the antibody called immunoglobulin G. Now this one, immunoglobulin G, IgG, it can pass through here. Then when it passes through here, it enters the fetus and gives the fetus protection. That's why there is a common question about measles. We normally say that measles vaccine is given to babies at what age? At the age of 9 months. Then they ask you, why is it given to babies at 9 months? So it is given to babies at 9 months because the maternal immunity of this baby against measles lasts for 9 months. What is that one? The IgG, the immunoglobulin G. Those antibodies. That's why we are saying they pass through the placenta. Therefore, it provides passive immunity to the baby, which is natural immunity. It also removes nitrogenous materials. So it also, the placenta removes nitrogenous wastes. Nitrogenous wastes from the body. Nitrogenous wastes, from the fetus. It can excrete like the urea. Then that urea is going to be taken out. Then it's going to reach here. Then it is going to go out the mother's blood. So all these exchanges that are taking place here, they take place by what we call diffusion. Then there is one point I've forgotten to talk about, that is what we call HIV. HIV, this AIDS is caused by the HIV virus. Then previously, children who were produced by mothers who were victims of AIDS, even the children were victims of AIDS. But recently, they have invented a drug which prevents these HIV viruses from passing through the placenta. That's why when a woman is pregnant, she has to go for what we call antenatal care, and the first thing they have to do, it is a medical checkup, a blood checkup, to see whether the mother has HIV or not. And once they find out that mother has, then they have to give the mother that drug to prevent the baby from contracting the HIV virus. Okay, so that has been the placenta. Then the amnion, our amnion. So the amnion there, you are seeing it is we discussed it is acting as a shock absorber, whereas the amnion, it is the sac which is protecting the amniotic fluid and the fetus. Then the amniotic fluid, it acts as a shock absorber, and it enables the fetus to move freely within the uterus. So after I have looked at that one, now it means that the woman is pregnant. Let us see what is there during pregnancy. So let us see the signs of pregnancy here. What are the signs of pregnancy? And you get to that, oh, I'm pregnant. Signs of pregnancy: 1, menstruation periods stop. as we discussed this one earlier. So the menstruation periods, they stop. Menstruation periods do what? Do stop. That is one. Number two, there is what we call the breasts grow bigger. The breasts grow bigger. So the breasts grow bigger. Like when you have your cow, your goat, your pigs, when they are pregnant, you try to see their udders growing bigger. Number three, some women experience morning sickness. So they experience morning sickness, which also includes the vomiting. Next, they tend to pass out urine frequently. So passing out urine frequently. So frequent passing out of the urine. Number five, from the 5th month, from the 5th month, then the baby's movements can be felt. Yeah, the baby's movements can be felt. You can start feeling the movements. It is this way, it is kicking, what, like that. Okay, so let us also see how can we care for a pregnant woman. So if you marry your wife and she becomes pregnant, how do you care? What care should you take? Number one, this woman must visit what we call antenatal clinic for medical checkup, to see whether he's not having AIDS, to prevent your child from getting AIDS, and also to get advice, because they check their pressure. They tend to be with a low blood pressure. Their pressure tries to be low. Then the doctor advises them how to raise the temperature, the pressure, because once the pressure is too low again, it is dangerous. One, this is very, very important. So the woman must visit the antenatal clinic. She has to visit the antenatal clinic for medical checkup, and also advice. That this is number one. Number two, this woman has to do what? To have a good diet. So she's supposed to have, or she should have, a good diet. I know kulyo bulungi. Why? To maintain the proper growth of the fetus. So for the proper growth of the fetus. Number three, this woman has to do what? To receive. So she has to be given tetanus toxoid vaccine. Akaiso ka tetanus. Why? To prevent her and her unborn baby from getting tetanus, because on giving birth, as we are going to see, the placenta comes out. It's like having a big wound inside there. Now, they open naturally. They have a natural opening. Now, when they sit on a dirty desk, a dirty chair, anywhere, then the germs can enter them and infect them. That's why they have to get tetanus toxoid vaccine to prevent them from getting tetanus, and even the baby, because they have to cut the umbilical cord. So it's like a wound, so the germ can penetrate through that umbilical cord. So they have to receive the tetanus toxoid vaccine. Next, this woman should avoid smoking. So the woman should avoid smoking or kunywa cigar, because smoking has nicotine which can pass through. It is a transplacenta substance. So should avoid smoking and taking of alcohol. Then number five, the woman must, this one is very important, the woman must observe proper personal hygiene. I know kunaba, aina okukola chi, she has to do the shaving. So proper personal hygiene. Yeah, she has to maintain proper personal hygiene daily, and she has to change clothing. Another way, this woman should put on appropriate wear, appropriate clothing. So si kwa mara kwa you are pregnant, you put on a legging, you put on siman jegging, siman what, no. She has to put on appropriately. She has to wear appropriate, not trousers. And this woman, she has to do what we call regular physical exercises, but they shouldn't be strenuous like heavy exercises. So they have to be medium exercises. So she has to do regular physical exercises. So I think you've understood today's lesson very well. Let us go and do the activity. Okay, activity number 1. Write down 3 ways we should care for pregnant mothers. We should care for pregnant mothers. Number 2, state 2 signs of pregnancy. Number 3, how useful is the umbilical cord to the fetus? And this is how useful. Number 4, define the term reproduction. Number 5, what is fertilization? Number 6, why should pregnant mothers go for antenatal care? Number 7, write down 3 functions of a placenta. Number 8, where does implantation take place? Number 9, name the inner lining of the uterus. Number 10, write down Alright, you have been a good learner. Let us meet in the next lesson. Please send your work for approval.